Lovely. Welcome back. As you may see, this is a new concept. I've never done this before. I'm going to be talking to you, recording myself about one topic, and also in the meantime, I'm going to be taking pictures of scenic Budapest and also video. There we go. So, as I've mentioned in episode 1, right, I had the opportunity to work with one band and also photograph another one that I really love. And that brought me to the topic of concert photography, and I've had my own battle with it. It was an uphill battle, but I got there. My history with concert photography is I attended my first concert at 14. It was a Finnish metal band, and I fell in love with the whole concept. I love live music. In fact, that's why I studied it. And I was always jealous of the photographers being there in the pit, just a few yards, mere steps away from where we were in the first row, but they didn't have to fight for it. And also they got to capture their own perspective of the whole situation. So I've been really dying to get in there. And at first I started reaching out to different friends, and ultimately that's what led me there. But it took me 2 months of rejection by managers, rejection by venues. I even reached out to some of the musicians, and I was just out of luck, I guess. It took me a while, and then I got connected through a musician friend of mine to the largest Hungarian metal online website. And they were short of a photographer. They have a few, but they had a few concerts that they couldn't cover. And so, I had my foot in the door, and I wasn't going to let go of this situation. It was really nice to get that opportunity. And ever since then, because I got my foot in the door and because some of the photos were shared and liked by the musicians, and it got them exposure, I now have access to a roster of concerts that I can go to, which is really good. Here's why I wanted to cover this topic. If you are a young, aspiring photographer, concerts are a great way to do a few things. After I've waited 2 months, I was then facing another challenge, but it was one that was sort of easy to overcome, I guess. Practice makes perfect. And concerts are fast-paced, and also they're in low-light situations. And so you have to sort of get your mind right before you go in there. You have to practice at smaller venues. Different venues have different lighting. So you'll have to get a few things ready for it. You'll have to have a very bright, wide-angle lens. If you do have a prime that's, 75, 90 mil or over, that's also really nice. And you also have to get a zoom lens. Zooms, the ones I have are constant f2.8, and they sometimes struggle, so you have to raise your ISO, as well as, obviously I don't recommend anything lower than like a shutter speed of 250, 320. Those numbers are the ones that get me the right shots. Everything below that is going to be a bit of motion blur. Okay, in the meantime, let me line up this shot because I've been really dying to get this image here. Oh, it's gorgeous. Now we're using the 24mm lens on the drone, which is a micro four thirds sensor. And even though it might not look really good here, but let's check what it looks like. This is also an important thing to do. Just check your shots so that you make sure you cover them. Okay, maybe a slightly different angle, but here's one of my favorite things about these DJI drones. I use them as my backgrounds on my phone, but I would have to go and show you this. In pano mode, not enough people use this. You can go to vertical, which will capture 3 images, which in terms of stitching is even easier for different software. And you have to go right over it, because it will capture one looking down, one looking forward, and one looking up. Cool. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. And then it will stitch. And the painful thing is you have to wait for this to finish. And I can see my drone still within line of sight, which is really good. It's a cloudy evening, no stars anywhere, but good enough visibility, which is good. So going back to the concerts, here's why I think it's really important if you're up and coming. Musicians work based on their network. They talk to each other. They talk to venue managers. They go to different countries. Their exposure is worth 100 times that of, somebody who's an old friend of yours. Maybe they have a company or whatever it is. Is it a paid gig? Yes and no. Sometimes you get some honorary amount, but really not much. So this is not where you're going to get rich. But the exposure that I got and the connections that I've got and the bands that reached out to me afterwards, asking me if I could come to their shows and capture them, it's the best networking I've done so far. Musicians really, they know what it's like to get help from the community, and they also give back. So I just want to thank every musician that really invited me to their show. I've got a few more lined up. And maybe let's cover the 2 bands that I've recently shot. The first one was a German band. They're in the progressive metal scene. My friend absolutely loves them, and he saw a social media post. And again, musicians are always connected. He saw a post saying that they're looking for people to cover their shows in the different cities that they visit. And I ended up messaging them, and I said, loud motorcycle. I'm here to cover Budapest. And they said, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. And I spent half a day with them, behind the scenes, covering their rehearsal, practicing, talked to them, recorded a few little segments for their social media. They're announcing some tours and whatnot. And we talked about specifics, which is amazing. When bands have specific ideas, I love it. Because I don't have to, try and read their minds. In hindsight, it would have been really, really good to maybe listen to their live set, and so that I knew sort of what big moments there were. But they had specific ideas. They told me, hey, second to last song, everybody's going to have their flashlights on. It's usually the highlight of the show. Make sure you capture it. Would prefer to have a photo instead of a video. So have those conversations. Prepare yourself mentally and physically to be at the right place at the right time. I noticed, hey, the second to last song is coming up, and I just had to go and grab the right lens to make sure that I could cover a wide enough perspective. So those are really, really good. The second band that I covered is one that I absolutely love myself. It's an Italian band, symphonic death metal, very visually pleasing band as well. They dress in like sort of tuxedos, and they have guitars that look like violins and cellos, basically the same motifs on their instruments. Super fast-paced, really heavy orchestra, female-led opera singing as well. So that was also just something that I knew very well. I knew their songs, I knew the set that they were going to play. There I was part of 7, 8 other photographers. There are rules you may not be aware of. For instance, as a standard photographer, you're invited as part of the media. You get 3 songs, usually the first 3 songs. Not every concert I've been to is the first 3 songs. But you get 3 songs and then you're out. So, you have to make every moment count. And if you know the first 3 songs and you know when there's going to be a particularly intense guitar solo, the front man is going to jump down into the crowd or whatever it is, you're going to have that advantage. So do your research. Definitely do your research on the band, on the musicians, what they like. Some musicians don't like a camera pointed right in their face. My policy is do it and apologize later. That's really the only thing that I can tell you. Prepare yourself also in terms of gear. Going back to it, one thing that I did in my first concert is I had a relatively small memory card. And so the first, it was a show, it was 7 shows in a row. On 2 stages. And so basically you had one show finish, second one started. After the first one I had to run out, and I missed the first half of the second set because I had to copy all my files in order to not lose the first band. So yeah, just make sure you double check how many photos you can take, how much video you can take. Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly what I'm doing now. Really, when I go to shows, I double check, I back up, I optimize. That's a beautiful, beautiful scenery here. This is from episode 1, Liberty Bridge. So yeah, very nice. There's the traditional market there. Let's see if we can fly over there. You can still see the drone. It's incredible. This Mavic 3 Pro is a beast. I can't really tell you how much I love this drone. The old tram. Now I need to be cautious over there because the sensors don't really work at night. So I'm relying on my eyesight here, basically. I'm not sure in what order I'm going to upload this, but I just tested 3 Teslas in a row. Very, very cool experience. It was very nice of Tesla Hungary to let me do that. Let's have a look here. Okay, we're gonna line this up. And what I'd like to do is cross with the tram. Now, where's the tram? Oh, it's just leaving now? Oh, it's leaving me in the dust. Oh shit, let's go. Okay, here we go. Very nice. I mean, how beautiful is Budapest? You see the Gellert Hotel in the background, which also has a thermal spa. Definitely a must visit if you're coming. If you haven't booked your ticket, hey, have you not been listening to episode 1? Very cool. So it's a bit of sightseeing and a bit of advice. If you're doing the photography game, have a look at your local venue. Reach out to local magazines, you know, forums, websites, whatever it is, so that you can cover their shows and get yourself prepared, really. Both in terms of technology as well as just practice low light, fast action photography. It's not easy. I'll put some photos and videos while I'm talking, while my drone is arriving right above my head. Very cool. Yeah, not every shot is going to be a keeper for sure, but if you do it well, you'll get nice exposure from very grateful musicians. They'll reach out to you. I've had several of them reach out to me and say, hey, we've got some more that I can share. So of course they'll share it and they'll tag you. So exposure is a good game, and that's something that I'm going to continue playing. Now, I don't think that there's anything else that I want to capture. So if this video makes it out first, then you've got a Tesla video coming up. It was my first time driving Teslas, and it was 3 in a row. I did that on purpose. I wanted to see what all the hype is about, and they're very nice. They explained a lot of stuff about it. And yeah, that's a good discussion to have, especially with all the changes in sustainable driving. Yeah, this is what I call it. Cool. Now, before we wrap up, I want to do the vertical panorama again, because I haven't seen what that looked like. Okay, it's an interesting angle. Just lining up nice and symmetrically. Awesome. We're doing everything in auto because this is night mode, so something for something. Okay, we'll go to cine mode. Cool. And we're slowly moving. Very nice. Slowly panning up with the camera as well as descending, keeping that safe distance in mind. Gorgeous. Look at Budapest. Isn't that nice? Awesome. Okay, reducing the descent, reducing the camera tilt, and we're smooth sailing. Let's go. Goodness gracious. Okay, back into normal modes. Switch over to photo. Very cool. See how that works. Okay. Maybe we can get University of Engineering here. A little bit further up. Not risking it too much. And that's a picture. Very good. Maybe roll back a little bit on the exposure. Now, one image that I took a few years ago was from this angle here, and I still love that picture. I was taken with an Air 2S, and that's sort of where we were at that point. Let's go with an even exposure, maybe a third of a step down, and just include half the bridge and a little more of that square before Balna, which is the whale. That's it. Rule of thirds. In you get. Beautiful. Alright, I think that's it for this video. We're gonna head back and see the drone coming back here. Wow. Always when I'm recording. That's a guarantee. That's a given. Drone's on its way back. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.